everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I have full-on spring fever. It's because it's literally the first day that's like short sleeve weather. It's not here to last. I'm trying to talk myself down from getting involved in all kinds of projects, knowing that it's at least a month too early. But I figured because of the cold spell that we had in January, a lot of my heading vegetables, including broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage, really got damaged. So it's actually a good time to go ahead and get some new seeds started. So I have some soil cube here in my wheelbarrow. I have some trays that are ready to get filled, and I've sorted through my seeds, and I have several varieties of broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower that I can go ahead and get started. So the seed starting process is super easy. I'm just gonna fill my tray with soil cube. Remember, I always use soil cube. I don't mix it with anything else. I've been doing this for years, and it's really just like the simplest thing. It holds enough moisture so you don't have to constantly water. And of course, I am one of the few people that does not bring seeds inside. I don't start seeds inside my house. My house is small. I don't have a setup with lights. And frankly, I just don't really think that's necessary in warm climates. Warm climate, I'm gonna go ahead and define as zone 7 through 9, where you can actually grow these things outside, and unless they are growing like really tender and you get exceptionally cold, you can just leave them outside. Yeah, they will grow much more slowly, but they will be acclimated to the conditions, and long term they'll just be like way lower maintenance and overall just generally easier. All right, so I have this tray filled. I'm gonna fill my next tray, and then we'll get busy sowing the seeds. So it's important to note a couple of things. I always put my cool season heading vegetables into a plastic container. That way they're easy to get to, and I always store my seeds in the refrigerator, not the freezer. The refrigerator is the ideal place to store seeds so that they'll have long-term germination rates. Generally, you know, they put an expiration date on seed packets, but if you refrigerate your seeds, you'll be able to grow from the same packet for many, many years. Let's see if I have a date on here. Packed for 2018. I can guarantee that this cabbage will still germinate. This is actually the cabbage that got damaged that I grew last fall is from this package here. So the next thing is make sure you mark what you're growing, because all of these cool season brassica crops look the same when they germinate. So I always use the garden marker, and you can find this online. This is way better than a Sharpie because it doesn't fade in the sun. And I also use this like in the garden permanently to mark on bricks. That way I can keep track of what I'm growing and when it was planted. And then you can see I have trays. These are shallow 4-packs. These are deep cell 4-packs. I don't really think there's all that much difference other than the amount of root mass that will develop. And I'm gonna do kind of the same 4 in each, and we'll be able to just compare their overall development. I don't think there'll be a major difference. Sowing now, the beginning of February, hopefully these will be able to be large enough to be transplanted into the garden by the middle or end of March. A lot of that's definitely going to depend on temperatures, but here in central North Carolina, I live like 20 miles south of downtown Raleigh. We're zone 7. Our extended forecast is just sort of normal temperatures, nothing extremely cold, nothing extremely warm. And that's why I think it's the perfect time to go ahead and get these new cool season seeds started. Okay, so I am just using a little piece of metal as a dibble, and I'm just gonna kind of do a little circle in the center of each cell. And then when I sow the seeds, I'll just be able to tap the tray. And I am gonna start with cabbage, both of these. And I'm gonna aim to only put one seed in per hole. That's sometimes easier said than done. I'm gonna try and get tricky here, using one hand for the camera and one hand for the seed. So you see I've just made kind of a little crease, and then I'm gently tapping until one seed comes out. This is definitely an exercise in patience. Now that the seed is sown, I am just gonna shake these trays up and get that soil to settle. That way I know the seeds have good contact with the soil, so they'll germinate easily. Now, figuring out where to stash these trays is another major consideration. From experience, I know that in February we can still be cold and hot, and we're sort of all over the spectrum with weather. I'm going to concentrate in putting these things here in this sort of protected area where I have super easy access to watering. And that is really the most important thing. Don't put these someplace where you're going to have to like haul water to it. So that's why I'm not putting them in my greenhouse, because the greenhouse water is actually shut off because it very frequently freezes and explodes in the wintertime. So instead, I'm going to put them here in a super convenient area, and I'll really be able to notice when they start to grow. And that way, it's just going to like set me up to be successful. And really, that's the key with growing seeds, is make it convenient, whether you're growing them inside or outside like me. Convenience is the most important factor. Now, the reason that I like to do my seedlings outside, in addition to the fact that I don't have room in my house and I'm not going to set up lights, is just the simple fact that they germinate in a more kind of temperature appropriate way. That way I won't have to worry about them coming outside and not being acclimated and then, dying even when temperatures aren't extremely cold. And as I mentioned, if we do have some sort of, major freeze after these germinate, I can always stash them here in the heated shed for a night or two. But the main thing is I don't want to grow them in artificial heat, because I want them to be ready to be planted out so that they'll be an early spring harvest. Now you'll notice I'm not adding any fertilizer, and that's intentional. There's really no benefit to adding fertilizer until after the seedlings germinate. I'll be sure to come out and add some kelp meal, probably in 3-4 weeks when they're actively growing, and that'll give them the nutrition they need before they get transplanted into the garden. Well, I hope you will be inspired to sow some seeds just like me. I highly recommend taking the easy route, keeping your trays outside. If for no other reason, it's a great learning experience. But I know that these will ultimately grow out and provide me delicious harvests in a few months' time. If you found this video to be helpful, please share it with your friends and give me a like. Be sure to subscribe to the Bree the Plant Lady YouTube channel for more practical gardening advice. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.